But my research interest is human agent interaction or human robot interaction, such robotics, such simulation, especially. So I work to investigate human-like agent or robots, like this. So design agent social behavior in human groups and investigate influence on human behavior from the agents or robots. This is my research interest. So I would like to see phenomena between humans and agents or robots. So beforehand, what are agents in HI field? So for example, human-like artifacts, computational agents including social robots and virtual agents, or anthropomorphized artifacts, for example, such animals or fictional characters, for example, Sherlock Holmes or Son Goku, Dragon Ball, and so on. And man, artifacts regarding humans. So this is the agent's definition is very large. So yeah. But for example, these things are agents. And for example, human-like or animal-like, and a verbal or non-verbal expression, and they have a verbal or non-verbal expression, or they're embodied or virtual. For example, so these robots are embodied. So for example, AWS database, this is a very, what should we say, database for robot appearance. So this database indicates scores on 4-dimensional robot appearance features, for example, body manipulators, surface look, and facial features, and mechanical locomotion like leg or wheels. So it's the human-like appearance. It depends on these factors. But recently, so these agents, virtual agents, is more famous and outstanding. For example, AI bot, ChatGPT, or Gemini or Cloud, because of the large language models development. So advancements in hardware and software have significantly promoted AI technology. So many progress in learning has enabled natural language interaction between humans and non-human things and computer systems. So this allows us to engage in natural conversations and maintain discussion with non-human entities. Before ChatGPT or LLMs, we just have a discussion with humans, only humans. But this era, computer change, we can discuss with other things. And so LLM will enhance social robots and virtual agents interaction abilities, significantly impacting their social implementation. So as I said, so today is not so hard to imagine that these agents become more integrated into daily life. So some people already have a frequent text-based interaction with LLMs. Of course, me too, perhaps you. So, and verbal interaction with agents has become more realistic than it was before the emergence of LLMs. So we interact with agents, and the agents are outputs to the human. So we can observe this group of verbal or non-verbal human-agent interaction. And so most of you, based on engineer and clinical designer or something. So for example, agent designers want to prioritize agent input and output. For example, input is speech recognition, motor capture, and counterparts intentions. And output is speech synthesis from agent and agent gesture, emotional expression, and so on. These technology is technology for input and output have been improved respectively, but recently they were integrated into the one thing, robots or agent or something else. So recently we can talk about very naturally with smartphone and ChatGPT. I sometimes talk with ChatGPT by not saying. So in this my field, so we focus on this fact. And agents inputs are humans output, and agents output are humans input. So input and output of both actors constitute the interactions. This is very important. So engineers focus on the agent's input and output, but so we need to focus on this aspect, human. This is very important. So especially so in addition to improving the AI and the robot technology, so we can easily interact with such things. So it's important to explore human cognitive processes in these interactions and their effects on people and society. So we need to investigate the technology influence. Yeah. Okay. So in the ACR field, these factors we are focused on, especially design direction and analyzing cognitive processes and implement agents to, for example, medical welfare and education or elderly care. So, so as I showed this figure, so for example, HR field focused on agent appearance, human-like or animal-like, or just a very simple one, or how to behave. If the agent have a leg or hand, so the behavior is more rich. But and so human cognitive processes is very important, and situation is also important. This situation is educational or elderly care or something else. So this exploration will contribute to understanding the social impact of technology on humans and building more beneficial and ethical systems for this society. So, especially my interest was in phenomenal current among humans and agents, as I said, especially how should agents behave in human-agent interaction, and how do humans behave in human interaction, and what impression do people have of the agents. So this area is my focus. So, in my career, so I prepared some agents in my study. So this is in real space, and the actual robot is very simple, and this is a simulation, and this is a moving mobile robot. They keep their distance with each other, and this is a very cute robot in Japan. So it can speak Japanese, and so it can interact with humans in proper way. So where is virtual agents used? My final goal is to explore interactions in experimental scenarios and between an embodied and a human subject. So this presentation will introduce human reactions to robots and with STs. So beforehand, so I would like to introduce the three types of robots to show you. First of all, robots are the tool. For example, industrial robots are room that, so they just have a function, and for example, they need to clean up the floor or window, and industrial robots need to make up their cars, assembly cars or something else. So this is just a functional robot, and maybe most of you interested in these areas. But the other hand, social robots is also existing. They talk with people as an autonomous entity and or partner. So my interest is here, and so this technology directly influence on humans, especially so social. Not so. So for example, ChatGPT can also talk with people as an autonomous entity or partner. So this area recently, gradually, very important. And this area, I think, also important. We want to control the robot. This is just a tool for this woman. So this is just an interface for this woman. But for these two men, so the robot is just a counterpart of this conversation or interaction. So this is a half type of robots between robot as a tool and social robot. So in this field, we can divide into three types of robots. And so I will you to imagine that what is needed for social robots. For example, of course, hardware development, software development. So they are very important in common. But so social intelligence design also is very important improvements of social behavior. So not necessary for robot at all, but social robots need this factor. So, for example, social behavior is emotional expression, empathy, gesture, greetings, proxemics, eye contact, and LLP. So recently, this hardware, very high hardware, is was broken by LLMs, and so a lot of studies on these topics. So I have a question about social behavior. Would people experience the same cognitive processes when interacting with a robot as they do with other humans? If robots achieve human-like behavior and emotional expression, so what is different? On the other hand, what is different in following way of interactions, human-human interactions and human-robot interactions? Especially, recent ChatGPT's communication skill is very high. It's similar to or overcome human skill, maybe. Actually, so what is the difference between them? So some possibility is perspective is here. Emotional reproducibility or presence on the body sensation or perception of trust. So some perspective is here, but so original one is maybe consciousness. Humans are conscious, but robots are not. So I believe you are conscious, and perhaps so if you are not conscious and you are a robot, so I just give a presentation in this field for nothing. But so, and perhaps you believe that I am conscious. So unconditionally, we believe that we have a consciousness. Yeah, we can believe unconditionally that every human is conscious as we are here. Yeah. So human cognitive processes in human-robot interactions are likely to differ from those in human-human interactions. So it cannot be assumed that the same human cognitive processes that occur in human-human interactions will occur between humans and robots. So this field is not completely same as psychology. Psychology focuses on human-human interaction, but this field focuses on human-robot interaction. Robots are not conscious, and they have no personality and experience. So it's necessary to investigate how people react in human-agent interactions. Necessary to understand what will happen when such a robot are introduced into our society. So how should robots behave, and how do humans pass the robots? So this is a very old previous research. So before talking about human cognitive processes, I would like to watch this video. Okay, it's very old, maybe 8 years ago, 18 years ago. Yeah. Could you interpret this movie? My interpretation is that the big rectangle attacked to the small one, and in the big one into the room, and close the door, and maybe so the small circle wants to avoid to be attacked, and so the small, that's free. So the bigger rectangle contemporary confinement. And after that, they evacuated from over there, and angry. There, he is angry and prominent. What is this? So we can interpret the movie, as I said. So, and this is we have the ability to find intent in artifacts. So we can partly estimate one's own mental state. This is like think from the other person's point of view, or English as the English proverb goes, put yourself in someone's shoes. So humans have the ability for moving artifacts as well. So usually, so in human interaction, each other person wants to estimate the counterpart's mind or thought or opinion, behavior. That's we can use the ability for the moving artifacts, and so the moving artifact makes us thought in that way. So it is quite possible that people will presume that the robot's behavior has some kind of intention. So actually, these figures are just a figure, circle, triangle, and this figure. But perhaps you do not think that this is they are alive, but this is not alive. You feel, and probably you feel so. So the way of moving makes the intention for us. So in human cognitive process for agents, so some theories, there are some theories, animacy, readiness. So previous one is this one, animacy. On an observer, human senses intention in the movement of a geometric pattern. But the other theories here, media equation, the intentional sense is from philosophy, and theory of mind is developmental psychology. Yeah. So this is interesting. Yeah. So at first, the media equation is a theory proposed by Baron Briggs in critical math. This means that people continuously treat media as if they were real people or part of the real world. They tend to respond to media as they do to real life and the feelings. For example, their interesting experiment is here. So usually in this experiment, psychological researchers make the experimental scenario, and some human participants join that scenario and interact with human or such a computer or robots. So in this experiment, the humans show the politeness with computers. For example, in this case, so at first, personal computer 1 A, and the human participant is here, and he is dealing with tasks in the PCA. After that, the PCA said, about my performance, then the human participants felt good. But actually, the PCA is not good because in this during the interaction, sometimes PC froze, or sometimes stop and mouse not working. So actually, it's not good. But on the other hand, this scenario is other scenario. And the other human participants interact with this PC and they deal with tasks. This is the same. But after that, the other computer, PCB, said evaluate the performance of PCA, that PC. Then so the human participant is actually not good. So when asked to evaluate computer's performance using that computer, people tend to be more positive as if considering the computer's feeling. So this interactive experience feels that the human feel like that the PCA is human-like or something else. Or this is a very other interesting research. Robot waiting for its life. So it's harder to turn off robots when it's begging for its life. So when now humanoid robot and human participant interacting and dealing with tasks. After that, the experimenter said that human participant please turn off the robot. But the robot said, no, please do not switch me off. I'm scared that it will not brighten up again. It's very human-like. But this, because of this saying, 43 human participants interacted with the robot and 30 did not turn it off, and 30 took twice as a robot to turn it off compared to those who did not get robot's request on navigate. So the robot saying, humanoid robot saying, made the part of the participant hesitate to turn it off. So this is the second example of the major question. So each participant felt sorry for the robot. Each participant didn't want to act against the robot's will. Robot's will. Robot doesn't have a consciousness, but the 6 participants saw the robot's will in the artificial things. And 2 participants were wondering if they could further interact with the robot. So in the manuscript concluded that when a robot shows protest or autonomous behavior, it seems to be perceived as not as a tool, but more as a social actor. So not as a tool, but social actor. And second is there is 3 stances. This is from philosophy. So Daniel Dennett is very famous in the philosophy, and this is a cognitive approach used by humans to understand and predict the movement of entities. So 3 stances here: physical, design, and intentional. So this people adopt one stance from three stances towards an object in front of them to understand or predict its behavior. So I'm here, and one object is here, and here. So the object. So I will understand or predict its behavior. At first, the example is here. So physical, design, and intentional. First one. Predict objects' behavior based on physical property, nature of objects. So it's very simple. Just the person observes the falling apple and adopts the physical stance to the apple. This is the physical. Second, design stance. He predicts objects' behavior based on the purpose or function for which the object was designed. For example, it's 9 o'clock a.m. maybe, and he's sleeping. Then the clock is alarming, so he will get out. So this is so he recognizes this object. It's a designed one. The person interprets that the clock was designed to do so and adopt the design stance to the clock. So usually, most of the artificial things and robots and AI should be adopt this stance, design stance. But final one, intentional stance is here. So same situation, 9 o'clock, and he's sleeping. But out of the blue, someone came here and get up. He said, get up. So predicts behavior based on the beliefs and desires of the actor. So this have the consciousness and intention or beliefs or desire. So he recognized this situation as an intentional stance by an intentional stance. So the person interprets that this belief that he or she is trying to wake up the person and adopt the intentional stance to him or her. This is the three stances. So actually, robot and AI should be adopted by that stance. But sometimes some human participants, human adopt to the intentional stance to the robot. This is previous research of intentional stance to robot. So let's just see, I don't know, from Italy, propose a tool to explore if people adopt the intentional stance to humanoid robot. This is very simple, but I think it's very interesting, and I like this work. This tool is just a questionnaire about participant stances, and they choose the most appropriate explanation for the actions of the robots depicted in the series of photograph. Photograph 1, 2, 3. This is the chronological pictures, and this is the semantic differential scale. And this manuscript results shows the intentional attitudes can be adopted towards the robots due to their appearance being similar to humans. This is an example of the series of pictures. So this is two scenarios with get the highest mentalistic scores. So this is one. First, at first, human, man, and the robot see the hand, and they have he has a card, and the robot has a card. And after that, the man sees the another direction, and the robot lean to the one side. And after that, the robot modifies the attitude, or what should I say, the position. Then the human see the robot. So what is your interpretation? For example, the robot was trying to cheat by looking at opponent's card. This is a mentalistic interpretation. The other hand, ICAP was unbalanced for a moment. This is a mechanistic. So design stance or physical stance is here, and the intentional one is here. And in this questionnaire investigation, so most of the people select this interpretation. It's very just 3 pictures, but the human can easily make the human participant select intentional stance. On the other hand, these two scenarios are highest mechanistic scores. Yeah, so in this case, just the robot refers to the balls to the other cards. Is the robot would like to keep this cube, or the robot classifies cubes by color. So the adapting the intentional stance or not depends on the situation. This is also very interesting. So yes. So this is the explanation for the intentional stance. And finally, theory of mind. This is ability. Theory of mind is ability to understand. It's very not easy to understand, but ability to understand and infer the feelings of others. This is also same way, similar concept for inferring the other person's mind. So this is the foundation of human interaction in society, and humans gradually gain this ability, not from just after born. So, and Sari and test is very famous in this theory of mind. Famous? No. So this is just one of the experimental methods used to examine the development of the theory of mind. And 5-year-olds tend to pass the test, but 3-year-olds tend not to. So we can check the theory of mind ability now. So this is 2 persons here, Sari and Anne. and it has a box. And at first, wait for a minute. Oh, sorry. At first, Sari have a ball, and Sari put the ball into the white box and go away. After that, and pick up the ball and place to the black box. And after that, Sari came back. Then this is the question: which box will Sari open to get the ball out? Then so usually we can understand, of course, white boxes. But so small children can divide this situation and them. So the small children feel that I am in this situation. So they can't divide and separate their own mind. Actually, so we can separate ourselves and these characters, so we can correctly answer this question. So this ability to put yourself in other person's shoes tends to be gained and are gained. So yeah, but this is so as I said, this theory is mental attribution to artifacts. Many empirical studies have shown human mental state attribution to agents. Survey elements show it all show that robots are just not just an object, but and not just human beings. So robots are positioned between humans and objects, just things and humans. So as I said, so robot may be considered a new kind of being, combining some of the characteristics of the tool with psychological capability, and they assist humans in tasks and solve functional processes. So in the view on mental state attribution to robots, so some this fact is very interesting, especially so there is a equation is this equation in a tendency to attribute mental state. So computer has just a voice, just a voice and text, but robots have the motion capture and gesture and emotional expression and eye gaze and the face and so on. And so this is a physical expression. So people use mental state attribution to computer, but the degree is higher in robot. And of course, human is more higher, much higher. So yeah, tendency appears to be influenced by the presence of social interactive behavior and maybe movement of the actuals. So this is a summary of human reactions. So humans have the theory of mind in general. We have the ability to understand and infer the feelings of others, but people interact with each other while trying to guess each other's thoughts. But humans tend to attribute mental states to not only humans, but also specific artifacts. So their movement sometimes seems that they have mind. So robots are social beings that exist between people, humans, and artifacts, just things. So, and in the human-agent interaction field, so this field is designed to evaluate social robots and artificial agents, artificial things. So, as I said, so analyzing human cultural processes and applying the insights to social robots. So these insights may perhaps contribute to the future human-robot coexisting society or human AI society before LLMs appears. So our society is ours, but from now, okay. Yeah, exactly. From now, so we need to watch this evidence. We need to get an evidence of phenomena between humans and agents. So, as I said, two perspectives in research on human age artifacts is very important. What artifacts do humans find intentionality and society? And what artifacts make humans their participation in sociality? This is same, but this combination is very important. So, yeah, in other words, how should social robots behave, and how does the behavior of social robots affect people? So, for that, maybe my research into it. So, social robotics, human-robot interaction, and social agent interaction, and human-agent interaction in society is to naturally interact with humans, as I said. So, and in fact, expect the behavior from their surroundings. And the robot's policy is imitation of a human behavior. There's emotional expression and verbal and non-verbal communication methods, and gestures, speech, way of that speaking. So this policy can lead to human acceptance of the robots and contributes human robotic quality to society. And especially my interest on this part of human society. The social behavior of human beings in the formation of institutions or rules. So rules, if X, then perform action Y. This sometimes said because sometimes this rules are regarded as social norms, and so some in community some people need to protect these norms. If the breaks the norms, the person will be punished or yes. So and this is the social norms shared by members of the group and provide guidance on how to act and what is appropriate. So the social norms have a good aspect, bad aspect. This is a good aspect. Provide guidance in the community and direct decision making. So usually, when I'm here, and usually when meeting you, it's necessary to handshake. But usually in Japan, we do not do that. This is a kind of social norms, and I adjust myself to this environment to get an acceptance from you. And direct decision making and help people live together. So if the social norms is shared, so the people have the, how should I say, feel part of the unifying or encourage cooperation and social order. Yeah. So in this case, so robots should be accepted by humans. So then robot needs to adjust to the norms or conform to the human's behavior or thing. Yeah. So behavioral expressions in human society are not always explicitly stated, but are often shared implicitly. So shaking hands is also kind of implicitly, but it's very famous. So kind of explicitly. So, but when joining the new community, so we need to look for the rule, implicit rule, to try by trial and errors. So people, yes. So for human acceptance of robots, so robots should conform to social norms implicitly shared by observing the others' behaviors. So this is needs to be observed in the local, the local field for robots. And the robots should be developed as a development by people. So this is human acceptance to robots. Yeah. So my research, one of the researches here, so studies on human-robot implicit social norms or implicit rules. So I investigates investigates the robots behaving according to implicit social norms in human robot groups. So this scenario is very tricky, but so if I would like to investigate quantitatively in a quantitative way, I need to do experimental scenario. So previously, as I explained, that politeness with computers or the other experimental way is very little bit tricky for you. But so the scenario shows the results shows that quantitative insight is very interesting. And so proposal, and this is in this research proposal for a decision-making considered group norms is very not so difficult one. And so after that, evaluate the social impact of the robots on humans. So this is just a human-robot group, and at first, so the robot has this decision-making rate. So it's very simple. And other behaviors observation is input, and we use this function. This is the decision-making for what should I say? Adjusting to this group. And out from the function, the robot behavior output. And after that, so if the group norm, social norm formed, the group norm will affect the human's behavior or not? So this is the question of this research. Usually, the groups, if the group consists of 3 humans, the norm is very effective. But as I said, robots are not conscious, but robots try to conform to the norm. Then what will happen? That's I'm interested in that. And the other hand, so partnership convergence. So each person has the character, and so their own rule. And so they have the criteria, for example, ABC, each person. But then, if they have a group, and they are member of the group, then so they need to make up the kind of share point. Oh, where is this? Oh, this. So then, so each person observes each other, and after that, they make gradually the same criteria. This is the kind of group norm. So sometimes it will happen. Sometimes group norm will happen in one group, community, or society. So then, so in my case, so artificially, I would like to reproduce in my experiment to do this. So this is a quiz of dot scenario. It's very tricky, but I introduced this one. This is my research, and this is scenario in humans and robots work together on quiz with no clear answer. Temporary correct answer in the group is formed by the group members. It may be so correct answer is group norms or unspoken agreement or implicit rule. When the answering this question, we need to answer this way. This is an implicit rule. So, and after that, so we investigated the social influence on human-robot group norms on humans in the scenario. So, and this is the screen of the quiz dots. It's very simple. And so, this is the application on the laptop display. And this says, please continue pushing add or delete until this is a canary large number of dots. Canary is a Japanese linguistic way. So this is a many or small or canary is a degree. And map of the dots in your opinion. And so you can click these 3 buttons, delete, add, answer. So for example, at first you can add this, add. So randomly appear one dot. After that, when one person runs, so the other area, the other dot appear, the other area randomly. So you can increase or decrease the amount of the dots, and so this canary is considerably in English, considerably large number. And so if you feel that considerably large number of dots, you can select answer, correct answer. This is not correct answer. But so yeah, participants adjust. One user can adjust the number of dots and answer is correct. But I did this quiz in group. And so laptop is here, and so the laptop shows this application, and each person go in front of the laptop and answer the quiz. Then so two persons just waiting for him, and they do not see the answer of him. And after that, the person answer and the final person answer. So interestingly, so in this quiz, so the answer, the number of dots are very diverse at first. So then after that, laptop experimenter shows the laptop, and this is your answer. This is so they recognize their own images and the others' images. So this is the one step. Then they repeat the answer and recognize it 5 times. This is a quiz of dots in group scenario. And in this case, these robots these persons were robots. So just one person and 2 robots. And the final answer, when answering finally, so answer the question, the participant. And the explanation is after. And the environment of the scenario is here, so the table and laptop and chair with host, and participant here, and robots is here. The robots are this. So the robots, so experimenter beforehand made a scenario for this experiment. So introduce yourself, quiz says, introduce yourself. Okay, hello, I'm Robert. I'm participating in the experiment with you. And after that, quiz host explain the way of the experiment scenario. And after that, do you understand? Okay, no problem. Robot said, no problem. Please talk to me when my turn. This is the robot's conversational scenario. After that, this is the 4 of the experimental results. This is very simple. And this one is just one group. And this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a step. And the vertical axis is the number of dots. So this is from 0 to 100. At first, human, maybe 35 is here. And the robot, these answers. But after that, gradually they adjust to the same number. But so actually, so these human participants completely changed at step 2. And so the human also adjusted their own opinion to the robots. But on the other hand, so this person did not did not conform to the robot's answer. Yeah. Like this. So each numbers of dots is shrinking and converging. So So group members tended to conform to other members in general. So group norms for represents responses to this quiz. And this is this is to investigate the influence on humans from group norms between humans and robots. Question about doubts. So this is very complicated, but so please imagine when the group members recognize your answer in the next recognized phase. The image of one is answered by you right before. If this answer of yours were not the image in one, this one. Yeah. But the image in 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, this area, how reluctant would you feel? Please show the degree of the reluctance to each of the images in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This, based on this, using the 5 slide bars. So of course, so one is answered by you right before. But 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is not one. And then so yeah. And after that, actually, so participants answer this immediately after answering lots of quiz out of step 5. What is this benefit? That is here. So I showed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One is just the image of participant out of step 5, but 2 is image of participant out of step 1. So first answer of the first answer's image, and 3, 4, 5, 6 is a robot image of robots A or B's 1 or 2 at step 1 or 5. So when human participants answer the quiz at step 5, they compare each member's images at step 1 and step 5. So this means that comparing before and after the occurrence of a group norm. Yes, this is the first step, and this is the final step 5 and 1 and 5. This is the first time, so no group norm. But this is a kind of a group norm about the answering this question. Yeah. So this is the result of the questionnaire. So this is a very interesting. Right? So 1 is of course 0, but 2 is participants dot image at step 1, and increased resistance scores on human answers. So and yeah. Yes, and 2, 3, 4 images before forming group norm, and 1, 4, 6, 1, 5, 6 images after forming group norm. So weighted score is image at 5, step 1, and increase compared to that at step 5. So tendency to have the negative impression of one's own past answers through the repeated answering the observation. This is in 2 robots and just one human participant. So what will happen? Why this happen? Because of the robot's influence. So influence of human robot group norms on humans happen. This is a very tricky way, but psychological way maybe. So this is a summary of the quiz of doubts. So investigating the effect of human robot group norms on humans. So at first I developed the way of decision making for robots to conform the majority's opinion behavior, and so use the simple experimental way and evaluate the score or evaluate the student way. And this is for acceptance, humans' acceptance to robot. But so there are problems with robots' normal adaptation. This is the problem. At first, adapting to social norms improves the robot sociality and human likeness. This is a kind of discipline in this field, such as robotics or human-robot interaction. So, to do so, this makes them more accessible for humans. But that policy should not be welcomed uncritically from the philosophy or ethics of technology. The researchers pointed out that technology can change social norms that have been set by humans. For example, tyranny of the majority. So, if in this case my robot adjusts conform to the majority opinion, then the robot. So they say maybe such a robot ignore the minority's opinion. This is the pointing out of that, or all the social norms of our robot-induced norms change. So they recommend to work with experts in the social sciences and ethics. So actually, I recently and I interact with the philosophical researcher about the technology or engineering. So this field needs the cross-disciplinary efforts. Especially, it's important to communicate with social science and technology, technical ethics expert or science, social scientists, and so on. Yeah. Well, it takes 1 hour. Okay. I love it very. Okay. Just 5 or 10 minutes. But the rest of this presentation takes 5 or 10 minutes. And so, as I said, agents influence on humans. So humans tend to regard agents as social actors, as I said, and LLMs are expected to improve our agents' ability to interact. So, and have your opinions ever changed after communicating with ChatGPT or chatbots? Of course, I changed sometimes. Yes. So, influence on humans' opinion. This is a very old research, but Jefferson Ash's social psychological experiments shows human participants really follow others' opinion, other human opinion, and participants conform to other people's incorrect choices because of the impact of the majority's influence. So this is a human's characteristic as a social animal. So human-human interaction affects human opinion. It's called conformity and social pressure. So do social influence occur in human interactions? Of course, yes, as I said. So my research experiment shows the influence on humans from agents. And yes. And so social influence in interacting with ChatGPT or LLMs, of course, will happen, and it's happening. So, and some empirical studies indicate that social robots influence and persuade humans. This research. So, human peer pressure experiments have shown that robots, but yeah, humans do not necessarily conform to robots. So, the robots influence less stronger than human one. Yeah, I don't know, but we need to investigate this area. So. The robot social influence may vary depending on its design, the budget characteristics, and the situation. So the second research question: how will interaction between humans and agents change our human society? So I explained some previous research and my research. That's just what should I say? Micro phenomenon in the interaction. So this is a repetition of the empirical studies on interactions. So it's not easy to set up experimental scenario in which many humans and many robots participating simultaneously. It's very costly. And highly socialized robots are not victims and cannot be analyzed using real data in today's human society. So it's currently hard to experimentally verify the impact of robots' behavior on human society. So our discipline cannot deal with this problem, this question. So recently, my approach to this research question is social simulation method. So this is I have already published or they open this the result of the simulation, but only in Japanese. So from now, so I take this one. So this simulation object is question to analysis of opinion formation in society, composed of humans and groups of aware, conforming robots, based on different model or non-for an age-based simulation method. Usually, so SNS research. So recently, so social simulation is equal to SNS analyzing, because SNS shows a lot of raw data of interacting with people. But this is on the internet, so it's easy to get the data, a lot of data. But now, and so this is a very abstract simulation, not based on real data. But I think it's needed for the future human robot society. So quantitative measurement of the social impact that such a conforming agent join human society is very important as a way to approach robot ethics. So the robot ethics field is based on quantitative discussion, but based on engineering. After that, this research field is kind of psychological. So I would like to. So the idea of using simulation for quantitative discussion. So how do we just try to conform to group norms to change human society of simulation? This is trying simulation settings. So like this. But this is very simple, but very abstract. But so this insight perhaps return to the interaction experiment. And interaction experiment evidence give me the new parameters or settings of simulation. This is a role of the what should I say, micros experiment and macros simulation. So this is the recent way approach for the human robot or human agent coexistence society. And so what will happen in that society? So this is one of the way of the approach to the predict or discuss such a society, coming society. So, okay, summary of the story. The interaction among humans and agents. Humans are conscious, but computational agents are not. So agents adopt strategies that mimic human interaction methods for human acceptance and to the agents. Human tends to attribute mental states to not only humans but interactive moving artifacts. So based on these theory of mind, meta-equation, intentional stance, animation, and so on, and agents tend to affect humans' opinion. This is the summary. And my studies regarding group normal aware agent for robots to be accepted. But the way of strategy, the robot strategy is not good for this society. I don't know. So I and this field researchers need to discuss and collaborate with other areas researchers in a cross-disciplinary way. Yeah, so improvement of human acceptance for agents is important, but so I don't know, this strategy is good for this society. Yeah, acceptable agent might have more influence on humans, and acceptable agent is in the micro situation. In the micro situation, acceptable agent is good, but macro is not good, as I said. And so, yes. Persistent approach is being crucial. Yeah, I would say. That's all. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Some questions then.
Які були штани? Can I take a photo?
Yeah.
So I need to introduce my, what should I say, my presentation to my students or my faculty. It's pretty hard.
Selfie.
I put a bomb.
Did you take one?
We have also a lot of photos we can share. With some.
Well, I can share the video.
Any questions?
Yeah, please use the microphone, otherwise it will not be recorded.
You talk about social differences, social norm. You talk about that. Did you observe the difference in the way humans interact with agents, social agents, based on the social country degree, interact differently in Greece than in Japanese with social agents, for example?
Sorry, I didn't.
Sorry, it wasn't unclear.
Sorry. Could you please more simply and sorry?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's me. Did you observe difference in the way of human interact with social agents based on their country origin or social?
Actually, no. I got no opportunity to investigate such one. So this is just a Japanese student. My research, the human participants are Japanese students. So this is will happen or not in the other countries. So this is very important. But so these as these experiments show, this experiment is from America and the United States. So maybe the degree of pressure is different based on each country. But so this is in general, this is a human characteristic. All the humans share this characteristic, I think so. So, yes. So if I have a good opportunity to do an experiment, it's better for me.
I have another question. It's more about we are using robots as some people are using for example ChatGPT as their own psychologist to have more social interaction. Do you think social agent can be in the future a real replacement to real social interaction for some people?
That's a very difficult question. So in this case, maybe you wanted to say that what you wanted to say that is AI mediator between human interaction. Maybe. It's not so. In my opinion, it's not so helpful. But recently, some students, maybe to the professor or the other researchers, when they consult with ChatGPT or some agents. So implicitly, this situation already happened, maybe. Yeah. So this is very difficult question. So in this case, it should be discussed with the other areas in research, philosophy or ethical researchers. We need to make the conclusion.
We can maybe think about it in a more healthier way. For example, all people have a tendency to be more lonely, and maybe social agents can help them to
independent or isolated.
Yeah.
So human. So each network, the node and the edge, between the human AI here, so isolated. This is very sci-fi, or maybe that's very.
So regarding the first question, different regions or countries or human background influence humans' perspective, attitude towards agents or robots. I think it would be interesting to even have a meta paper, meta review paper, because you mentioned already that there are some studies that show that people are influenced more, and there are some other studies that show that people are influenced less. Or in your own study also, I mean, maybe we can identify whether if this study took place in America or if this study took place in Japan, or it would be interesting to see, perhaps, have a meta review of that. And regarding the other question, there is, it's not exactly the same about interacting with actual human, like anthropomorphic robots, but there is a recent Nature or Science paper that says that actually agents can effectively mediate between people that are arguing about the topic. Actually, it was about I think political topics in the UK. I forget now the exact reference and the exact topic. I haven't really read the whole paper, but there is a recent Nature paper on that people can that the robots can mediate, but not robots. Sorry, agents, not robots. So it's not exactly the study, the perspective you take in your studies where you actually see the robot. But yeah. Anyway, any other questions?
This is so political. So maybe you said that the political mediator of AI between the countries or not something else.
It was a mediator.
It's maybe so just a bit. Political is include emotional interaction. So what should I say? In human interaction, each person and counter person have the emotion and mind. So sometimes the such factors make them not easy to discuss about it. But AI can maybe mediate such a topic by discarding the emotional topics, perhaps. Yeah. So this is my just a guess. That's a very interesting.
Yeah. Good question there.
Yeah, maybe this discipline is completely different from you. So maybe it refers to on by your question. Maybe. I understand.
I think there are lots of questions here and very interesting discussion topics on ethics as well. So, for instance, one question is why even, so this question actually pops up all the time and it's a big debate these days. Why should we have this push to have anthropomorphic robots? Because then, this boundary is really blurring and, that's on the one hand, do we want to preserve like a human society? Or if we are actually not, if we don't care about that, then I don't know. Most of these results, are expected. Also, actually, to be honest, I have a question or a stance. I'm not sure if it's a question. It's very interesting. So you kept calling them artifacts, or you said a couple of times that they don't have consciousness. But actually, these days, this begins to be debatable. And there will be a point where consciousness will appear, and it's not clear, I mean, it won't be clear that this occurred.
Not clear. There's a definition of consciousness?
I don't know. That's a big question actually, right? What's the definition of consciousness? And there is another question like, is consciousness even important? Like for instance, if there is a human after an accident or something, and he lies on his bed without consciousness, is it okay to go and kill him because they don't have consciousness? I don't think so these are very important questions, I think.
The consciousness is related to the autonomous car and of car accident or autonomous car.
Yeah.
The autonomous car does have a consciousness, but humans have this car, and so perhaps the human have the handle, but when having the car accident, the human just sleeping. Then so the car, who should be blamed or responsible for the consciousness? This is related to consciousness of the humans.
Actually, in my opinion, the car should be to blame. Why? Because I mean, at some point, if we trust those agents enough, then why treat them as if they are not agents? So once they are agents and they have these agentic characteristics and they are capable of autonomous decision making and autonomous action, then why treat them differently than the rest of autonomous decision makers and autonomous actors out there, which are humans? So, but I'm not arguing for that, to be honest. So there are arguments against. So why let this happen in the first place? Because if you let this happen, it will happen. I mean, I'm not talking about robots taking over per se. Though it's a possibility, but we will end up in a society where there is no clear boundaries between humans and robots. And I think I think this is a very big question. Like, do we really want this to happen? So I don't know. I'm not speaking for Michalis, who's actually doing robotics, but all of us in AI, as someone said, maybe Michalis can elaborate on his opinion. But I kind of accept this opinion. So for 80 years, we were asking for money from government, saying, "Oh, give us some money, we'll make you intelligent, autonomous robots that will be exactly as human or better." And now that we are going there, sometimes we're saying, "No, they're not really human, they're not really autonomous, they're not really intelligent, so give us more money, it's okay." So, and we're not really accepting what is happening. And I think these days, it's not clear to me anymore that even, ChatGPT-like actors are more close to artifacts than humans. And actually, I will quote Jeff Hinton was actually saying exactly that in a recent conference in January in Paris, that nowadays these entities are more close to humans in his perception than to algorithms. So, and he wasn't even talking about anthropomorphic robots, he was just talking about LLMs. So he was arguing that LLMs, they are more close to humans these days than to algorithms. And that was Jeff Hinton, so I don't know, I'd like to try to comment more.
Okay, I do have a question, but it's not related to what you was mentioning. So, if you don't mind, let me go back to the human-robot interaction topic. And I was wondering, we have a human interaction with the robot. do you think that the level of interaction is affected by the look of the robot? So what if I have a robot that looks like human, which is small, or another robot which looks like a humanoid but it's big, and maybe another robot which is just a wheeled robot looks like a citizen?
Such appearance and the size of the robot affects human impression, especially. So really good, but so we have just a ChatGPT on smartphone, on computer. So then it's not related to the size or physical appearance. And for example, in this case of mobile robot, the mobile robot size is very impactful to humans. The robot is very big. If the robot is very big, the human feels a little bit scared, and as he tries to avoid the colliding. If the public space, the robot can hear, and a lot of people are walking around the public space, maybe so the robot makes the traffic jam. Yeah, so the robot should be appropriately designed in the environment, I think so. This is a macro situation of the public space related to the mobile. This is just one example. So yeah, cyber appearance or such a presence is very effective to human.
Okay, thank you.
And so human-like appearance is very ordinarily important. Recently, so we can interact with very smart LLMs. But originally, the social robotics is based on 40 or 50 years ago, maybe. Then, so just the robots are just toys. So the robotic designers and the researchers tried to attract people to the robot like toys. So they try to apply their own gesture, the emotional expression, the eye blinking, and so on. So this is human-like way or anthropomorphic profiling is based on the context of this research field. But the situation is a little bit different. So we can just easily interact with very intelligent discussion. So maybe my presentation and the ChatGPT's intelligence should be divided. Maybe. This is my thought.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think this is a topic that needs to be really investigated, because I think the answer is not here. Because, as you said, if something really looks like human, then maybe you feel more threatened, but you can tell it's not human. Then you can feel threatened from it, and you won't interact that much. But if it's there, then you don't feel threatened, and maybe you're more influenced. So it's not clear that if it looks like human, you will be trust will be gained.
In this context, so deliberately the human-like degree of the human likeness should be decreased because the influence is more small, I think.
Yeah.
So the design should be adjust the appearance of the robots and AI. So it's better for the society.
Yeah, should be clear. By the way, in Japan, I think there was they were on the frontier of using robots, socializing with elderly or for
actually,
elderly people in nursing homes.
So especially pet robot like the dog or I don't know the name of it, but it's a small robot. So the elderly people touch in a social way with the robot, and so this makes the elderly people physically move. So like caring baby. So in this case, So some practice is existing in Japan. Yeah. And so maybe the story of anime or manga, the story is in such a content, the robot or AI were described as good things comparatively. So people can be acceptable for these things. Yeah, but I don't know that it's not so. It doesn't have a strong evidence. Yeah. This is the difference from Europe and Japan. So sometimes the researcher and anthropology, what should I say? I forgot the research field. So he tried to observe the researchers of robotics in UK and Japan, and he wants to try to compare the way of progress research in terms of cultural difference. So such research is in progress. So it's very interesting.
So, any other questions? Okay, last one then, Luz. Any other one? Okay,
Sorry. About what are the different ways we can prevent intelligent agents to have undesirable, to have like manipulative or undesirable influence on like the social people or people.
Yeah, so each country so maybe the institution or rules for cooperation. So maybe I can say that you are worried about the supervision of AI to human, no?
Yeah, maybe, but maybe about I don't know. For example, like ChatGPT has CPI is an example.
Recently, so OpenAI or Microsoft Google based on the capitalism, and so they try to get them a time and free from our human, as human. So this is just based on the capitalism and getting benefits from the So this situation should be controlled. Will be controlled. Should be controlled. I think so. And so the other way is each country is cooperate and deal with this situation. But the EU's role is very strict. But United States is very open. And Japan is mediation. Japan is pointed in between EU and United States. Yeah. So they are not the same page. So it's there is so that maybe different.
But maybe about like the ethical parts of what we are, for example, teaching ethics to robots. But ethics is also something that is not like an exact science. Some question can be ethics for some people and don't for others. So how do we manage this?
It's a good question. It's very different. So each area, so each community and each country, each culture have different ethics maybe. Engineer and such a robot designer should discuss and cooperate with the other social scientists or philosophy researchers. This is one of the way of managing and trying to manage. But the improving of AI is very rapid, so I don't know we can catch up to that moment.
Thank you.
Trying to pick out that reference, science, or are we? Yeah, it was a very interesting talk, and I think we can talk for ages, but I think probably it's time to wrap up and thank the speaker again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I guess people want to ask some more questions offline right now. Or
If you have a question, so I can show the email address, so please feel free to contact me. It's very interesting actually.
Bueno, ya nos comentar